Let me show you 25 easy content creation ideas for Instagram. I'm gonna walk you through a cool tool here on the screen and give you some really great ideas that I think will help you out. As you know, I'm a big fan of paid traffic and cold traffic acquisition because it's predictable, it's fast, etc. However, there's always a time and place for some good old content and marketing. And if you're using Instagram, this will help you out. Even if you're not using Instagram, what I'm about to share with you can make a big difference. And stick around right until the end because I've got a bonus secret strategy that if you're ever at a loss for what to create, will give you some really great ideas lickety split. So let's dive into this. So first and foremost, I want to show you this tool that we give our clients called the Social Authority Amplifier. And when I talk about 25 different ways or easy content creation ideas, it really comes from this. So we have 5 different post type. We have engage, polarize, coach, convert, and inspire. And then each one of those has 5 different subtopics. So 5 times 5 is 25. Now this is something that you can do in the space of an hour once a month to map out your whole 30 days worth of content. And the beautiful thing about this is that the most important thing I can share with you about content marketing is that it's less about the how-to and more about you and your opinion and your philosophy. Great marketing is philosophical, it's opinion-based. It's not just here are 3 ways to do push-ups or the 10 best uses of coconut oil. A lot of that how-to stuff is very plain, boring, vanilla. There's no connection. And I want you to think of this as being able to help you establish your character more so than just your content. Because at the end of the day, people do business with people they like, not just people who put out stuff that is, run-of-the-mill content. The other thing on this notion is being able to speak your truth. The closer you can get to being the truest version of yourself, whether you swear or don't swear, whether you believe about certain things or others, the more you can speak your truth, the better your business will do. You will attract better clients because they resonate with you. You'll repel other people because they don't like whatever it is you're saying. And that's great because good marketing is polarizing. You're not trying to be controversial for the sake of controversial. You're just saying, here's what I believe. And if some people are like, you're crazy, I don't agree with you, they're gone, which is perfect, right? So with that said, let me show you how this can work in your business. So this is just a basic schematic, but if we look on the second page here, we have a number of production prompts. And by the way, don't ask me if you can have this. This is obviously for paying clients, so it's not gonna happen. But nonetheless, let me give you what I can in this video so you can make the most use of this. Okay, so if you're ever like, well, what do I write about? What do I create content around? I'm gonna talk about the 3 content formats that have given us the best engagement on Instagram in just a few moments, but let's dive into these production prompts first so you actually know what it is like you can write about. So here on the first column, we have topics that are meant to engage your audience. So these are really useful for Instagram stories. So for instance, what are your thoughts on trend or hot topic? You can post an Instagram story that, it would say, hey, what are your thoughts on, as an example, the mayor of Toronto just recently stepped down because he was having an affair or some nonsense with one of his cabinet members. Not surprising. I could create a story around that if I had people that lived in Toronto. I'd be like, hey, what are your thoughts on Notori? Is he a douchebag or whatever? What the purpose of that is to build engagement. Like if there's nothing else I can give you here, the fastest way you will grow on social media is through engagement. If you just post stuff for the sake of posting it and no one's commenting, liking, sharing, responding, you might as well not do any of that at all because the search engines or the algorithms are going to push stuff higher that other people like because they want people to stay on the platforms. And if people don't like your stuff, they're going to go elsewhere. But if they love your stuff, they're going to stay on Instagram or Facebook or wherever longer, which means that those platforms are going to reward that content with more visibility. Okay? So what are your thoughts on this? What bugs you most about whatever? Here's a rant. What's something that happened in the last couple of weeks that's annoyed you? So as an example, one of the things that just drives me nuts is just some people are just really, really bad at what they do, right? You go to a restaurant, you have a bad server, they expect a big tip, but it's like, no, you suck. Why should I give you a big tip, right? So I might go on a bit of a rant about that. Now, this has nothing to do with content in the purest sense of like, how is this helping someone with tactical stuff? It's not. But what this is doing is it's starting to magnetically pull people into me, my philosophy, and push away everyone else, right? And when you look at those people on Instagram that have the highest, I would say the largest engagement, they do a very, very good job at this. And some people don't agree with them, and that's fine because they unfollow and leave, and that's what you want to do. Okay, so again, there's a number of production prompts here for the engage piece. Now, when it comes to the feed and or stories, you can use any of these other ones here. So for instance, entertain, what's something that happened to you when you were young that shaped you into who you are, what you do now. So let me give you an example of this from our Instagram page. If I go over here and show you, so what's something to me that happened to me when I was young? Well, I'll just kind of quickly share my story as a post. So you can see here, this post right here, academic athlete to alien, question mark, and I have a before and after picture. And essentially what this is it's a carousel post of my journey, right? How I lost my hair, painted on eyebrows, blah, 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 Dr. Oz, build big business, etc. And I share that story in the captions here. Now, when you look at the engagement that this post has compared to a lot of other stuff, although you can't see it here for whatever reason, it's pretty substantially better than a lot of the other stuff that's just, here's how to do whatever. And that's because when you use these entertaining kind of origin pieces, people connect with you. They're like, oh my God, like I didn't realize you went through this. I can totally resonate with you. And it's very important to bring yourself down to planet Earth, because we all want to position ourselves as like authorities and credible, but that's fine. But as soon as you kind of like knock yourself down a little bit, you become more relatable. For me, I don't take myself too seriously. I mean, I take my clients' results seriously, but I poke fun at myself all the time. There's a lot of shortcomings that I have that I don't really care about, that I'm happy to talk about. And I think the more we kind of unpack or like pull back the onion a little bit and show our trueness to the world, it builds trust a lot faster. And trust is one of the most important things you can do with your online business, because if no one trusts you, they're not doing business with you, okay? Here's another example. Your weakness. What's something you struggle with even to this day, okay? There's all sorts of stuff. Like I like donuts. I was a health expert and I love donuts, at the same time, I'm also drinking greens, which I love, but you can share your weaknesses. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? This is very, very powerful. It's starting to polarize and connect with your audience. What do you stand for? What are some quirks? What's something few people know about you? What do you do for fun? Stuff like that. So you can see again, like none of this stuff is like 5 ways to do this. It's all about building a tribe of people around you who resonate with you, okay? That's what these 2 categories initially are for. Now, the third category is coach, and this is where we get into a little bit more of the tactical stuff. So there's a couple different production prompt categories. We have ask, which is what questions have you been asked recently? So really simple, if you do any coaching calls with clients, whatever questions they ask you, note those down, because I promise you other people have those same questions. It's one of the easiest ways that I generate content is if I have a coaching call with 25 clients in the morning, I see what questions are popping up. I'm like, cool, is this relevant to other people as well? Maybe I'll create some content around that. It's a very, very easy way of creating content. Mistakes. What mistakes do you see your market or target audience make? What mistakes have you made others can learn from? I mean, this can go on forever, right? Top 10 mistakes people make with their push-ups. 5 mistakes to never make when you sleep at night. Like you can go on about any topic that, you are passionate about. You could just go on forever about the mistakes. And this is very powerful, because what it does is it obviously starts to get people thinking, well, what do I do instead? And naturally they see you as a good solution to help them avoid those mistakes. Model. This is a little bit more advanced. I mean, if you do any kind of visual models about like how your business operates, your business model, your proprietary process, if you don't understand what that means, don't worry about it. How to, this is what most people think about when they think of content. How to lose the last 20 pounds, how to get rid of knee pain, how to learn how to speak English, how to make chicken chow mein. Like this is the stuff that I'm saying, like you can see here that it's just one piece of the whole thing. It's not the whole thing. This is the biggest mistake I think people make, especially on social, okay? YouTube and search is different because people are actually typing in how to do this thing. Instagram is not like that. Instagram is interruption based. And so it gives you the opportunity to create what I call social content, which is different than search content. Search content is the how-to stuff, right? Social content is about you building bond and connection with your tribe. Lessons, rules, tips, takeaways. Right? I was at an event this past weekend here. The 3 lessons I've learned that can dramatically transform your business. My top 23 lessons from 2023. I've been in business for 17 years here. The 17 big takeaways. So you can all sorts of like introspective stuff you can share. So this is more of the tactical, practical content side of things, and we call that coach. Convert. This is, again, this is going to be used intermittently. I would recommend using this more in stories. You're not going to get any traction by posting anything promotional ever in your feed. And if you don't believe me, try it out, okay? If you have crickets, it's most likely promotional. So save the promotional stuff for your stories. And I'll see if I have an example here that I can show. So here's an example, okay? So want me to review your offer or funnel for free? This is kind of an invitation type of post. Send me a DM with any relevant links and I'll include it in some new deep dive YouTube videos I'm shooting. So that's kind of like a call to action or a conversion piece that I would not post in my feed because it's a waste of space. But in my stories, it's gonna expire in 24 hours, no big deal. And I can use that there. So I would recommend using the conversion pieces in your stories where in general, my philosophy is give in public, sell in private. And so if you can give, even in your stories, right? Give, doesn't have to be how-to advice, but just something that's gonna be entertaining, valuable, etc. You then earn the right to make an ask. And that ask could be something like, if in a coaching business, if you're running that, it can be like, hey, I'm looking for 5 guys who want to pack on 20 pounds in the next 20 weeks. So if you're interested, send me a DM. That's an example of a conversion prompt or a piece of content you can use in stories, but I wouldn't really run that in the feed, maybe once in a blue moon. But in stories, you can do that over and over again, balanced with a good amount of give, because it disappears and it's not sitting on your feed forever. And then obviously social proof. If you've got social proof, you gotta be using social proof all the time in your social stuff, okay? Everyone is looking for, well, does this work? Okay, so if you can use client testimonials, case studies, etc., that is huge. And if you have a sneak peek of anything you're working on, okay, I think Alex Tramosi does a great job at this, showing people like behind the scenes of him working on his books and editing, etc. I'm not too great at this, to be honest, because I kind of forget when I'm in the zone. But when we were building out Money Code, I was kind of giving some sneak peeks behind the scenes, showing what it was looking like, etc. Bringing people along for the ride so that when you do have the thing ready to sell, they're already somewhat invested. And then the final piece here is inspire, which is kind of, again, you sharing your philosophy, your vision, stories that, against all odds, David versus Goliath stuff, that challenge people to raise the bar, aspects of courage. When was a moment in your life or a client's life that required you to move through fear? Can you share or shout out any of your team members? Your team is really anyone in your life, right? So it can be your parents, your spouse, your kids, it can be team members on your team, it can be clients as well, okay? So anyways, this is not the only way of obviously producing content, but this is a really simple mnemonic that you can use to give you 25 ideas really quick, that you can just generate ideas off top of your head. My personal favorite use of this is if you're sitting on an airplane with no Wi-Fi or out in a park with a journal, is you just start to fill in these boxes, right? So you just literally fill in an idea for hot topic, what's an idea for origin, what's an idea for ask, what's an idea for invitation, and you just jot down a couple notes and you've got 25 production content creation ideas right there, and then you just have to create them. So let's talk about the 3 formats to bringing this stuff to life. And I'll show you from my Instagram page. So first and foremost, as of this shooting, we have almost 72,000 followers. Not the largest Instagram following, and by no means do I have the largest engagement. In fact, the engagement on our page is not that great. And that's because a mistake I made many, many years ago was buying followers. Don't do that. It'll kill your engagement, and you don't want 14-year-old girls from Venezuela being your followers. Even though you remove them, etc., it still kills the overall performance of your page. Anyways, with that said, we have generated more than $1 million off Instagram, and that's before we had 72,000 followers, and it's only helped since then. Okay, so I'm sharing like what's worked for us. I'm not sharing that, like, this is not the only way of doing things, but I want to share 3 content formats that have worked really well for us. So first and foremost are Reels, okay? So Reels are really simple. They're this, right? Vertical videos. You got the captions there. The Reels, for me, you can approach them in 2 ways. For me, they're opinion pieces. So if I want to share like if we go back to the social authority amplifier, really, really good to use polarize and coach, and even to be honest, even in the inspire stuff, in the form of a reel, right? 60 seconds or so, get to the point. And it's either something that can be tactical and useful, or it can be an opinion piece where you're just sharing your philosophy. So those are the Reels, shot vertical format. We have found that the quality of the camera makes a big difference as opposed to just shooting it on your phone. But that's just us. So that's the first type. The second type are these Twitter posts, right? So you've probably seen these. People are just posting, why are they posting images of Twitter on Instagram? The reason for that is because they work the best, right? So I'll show you an example of one of our top performing pieces right here on the right. It says, hoarding money is a sign you don't believe more is coming. Clinging stems from scarcity. There's always more than enough for everyone, and money is only useful when it's used. So for us, 748 likes, 22 comments is actually a very high performing post relative to our following, etc. This is just a post that we posted on Twitter, took a screenshot of it and threw it on Instagram. As you can see, we do Reels and Twitter threads or Twitter posts, and there's a reason for that, because these are the things that move the needle most for us. When, like, back in the day, if I keep scrolling and there's images of just like a lifestyle picture of me with some kind of caption, they don't do shit, at least not for me. I'm not a sexy woman in a bikini, so they don't really move the needle for our business. So what I'm trying to say here is you gotta test the type of content, and you have to track your metrics and look at, is this moving the needle? Is this a waste of time? Do I really need to do professional photo shoots? Is it really that useful? Maybe not, okay? So Twitter posts, the key with the Twitter posts is that these are your opportunities to express thought leadership. What do you believe? Like, these are tweetables, right? And the easiest thing that I can share with you, and I'll just share this here, is I have a document called Twitter quotes. And what I do is when I have some time, is I just jot down thoughts, right? So for instance, the desire to stay and play small is selfish. Growing a profitable business is as noble as it gets, because the only way to get more money is to help more people. So I literally just shoot down these tweetables, these one sentence ideas. And then those, our team takes, posts them on Twitter, takes a screenshot, they take a screenshot, and we bring it back over to Instagram. We see what performs, we see what doesn't perform. We do more of what performs well, less of what doesn't, okay? So the Twitter posts are awesome for sharing thought leadership, and I would much rather you become a thought leader than a thought repeater. And the third type, or the third format of post, is what we call a Twitter thread. And a Twitter thread is essentially a number of Twitter posts combined together in a carousel. So what that looks like is this. So we have a title slide, and then we have other slides, right? So it's a Twitter post, but just a number of them in one thread. And my approach to these typically is gonna be tactical, practical tips. And you just have to, again, you have to experience or experiment with what's gonna work for you. So for instance, like this one here, 17 unpopular lessons that will help entrepreneurs live a better quality of life. So these are not necessarily tactical, practical. I mean, they kind of are, but they're more like lessons, right? So we go back to the social authority amplifier, lessons, takeaways, insights, etc., right? So this is an example of that. Let me see if I can find another example of something a little bit more tactical. So this one here, 4 proven ways to reduce your cost per lead with Facebook ads. This actually didn't do well for us. And the reason for that is because most of the people following us are not running Facebook ads, okay? But you can see here, it's very tactical. Test more images and then a little description. Stop relying on a pixel. Here's what to do instead. Improve your landing page. Here's how. Increase your prices. Here's why, okay? And so that's an example of how I would use a Twitter thread. Typically, it's going to be more practical, tactical, something that is so useful that people hit the save right here, right? You see that right down here? They save it, they save the post. They're like, this is so useful, I'm gonna save it because I'm gonna come back and refer to this at some point in the future. That is a huge positive indicator for any social platform, okay? So those are the 3 formats. We talked about Reels, which are more opinion pieces, I think, at least, you know, how we use them. The Twitter posts, which is just the one post. Thought leadership, what's a tweetable, what's an idea that I can share that's gonna really grab people's attention and get them to think. And then the Twitter threads, which are perhaps more practical or tactical in their nature, so more people save them, and they're like, man, this is super useful, okay? So earlier I talked about a bonus strategy. And if you're ever staring at a blank screen and you're like, I have no idea what to write or no idea what to shoot a video around, I want to show you how you can use AI to generate some ideas for you. So why don't we test out the nature of this video with how we can use AI. So I'm going to use open.ai, openai.com. It's basically the same thing that created ChatGPT. I like this better personally. Here's how I would do this. You take the topic you're thinking of, okay? So for instance, we have, in Healthpreneur, we have 10 content pillars. If you can identify what those 10 are, let me know in the comments. I'll send you a juicy bonus if you can figure out what they are. So let's say that one of our content pillars, the big umbrella things that we want to be known for, is around premium pricing, okay? So let's say I'm looking for ways to come up with content around premium pricing. I can ask the AI, give me 10 topic ideas for content around premium pricing. And we'll just hit submit. All right, there we go. So now the AI is going to give me, in the space of a couple seconds, 10 ideas of how I can, maybe create some content around this idea. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. That makes sense. Maybe this one, not so much that one. Okay, cool. I'm not too crazy about most of those. So let me refine the question, because really the benefit of using AI is that it just gives you exactly what you're asking for. So the better the question, the better the prompt, the better the output. So how about this? Give me 10 reasons why premium pricing is better for coaches and their clients. So now I'm probably gonna get some juice here. So now I got some really good stuff to work with. Now I have to cross-reference what is being output here, put out here, with my own philosophy, okay? So everything it's writing here is pretty much on par with exactly what I typically talk about. Yep, totally. So I can literally take this, copy paste this, and turn this into a fleshed out blog post, right? I can ask it to expand on any one of these 10 I can have a more in-depth caption. The key here is that you're not going to get the finished product from AI, but it's a really, really good starting point to give you ideas if you're ever stuck. And then when you have those ideas, if you're someone like me and you can talk about any of this stuff forever, you just need the idea, then you can just kind of go on, right? So if you're ever stuck, you have the Social Authority Amplifier. Hopefully that's been helpful. You can also use ChatGPT or OpenAI for some suggestions. And I hope this video has found you well, because the reality is, like, you are a milk producing cow. And I say that in the nicest way possible. My friend and one of the smartest marketers on the planet, Dean Jackson, came up with this term. All of us creators, ideators, we're self-milking cows. Okay, we're cows that produce milk, and the milk is our ideas, and you will never run out. You will it just keeps flowing. And these are ways to give you mnemonics to get your milk out to more people more easily, okay? Now, if you want 3 additional tips to take your content marketing and really put it on steroids, then watch the next video, which is somewhere over here. But before you do that, remember to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss any of the videos that I'm posting on a weekly basis to help you crush it in business, especially if you're a health professional or coach. You want to subscribe. Thank you for your attention. I hope you found this valuable. I look forward to seeing you in the next video where I'm going to share with you how to take your content marketing and put it on steroids. Watch that next. I'll see you there.